Dublin and in Wexford I first saw freedom's flame. I revealed in the deeds of Tone, and I honored Emmet's name. I met Tom Clark in Parnell Street. I shook that Fenian's hand in the ranks of Fina Erin. Then I proudly took my stand. We rose in Galway in 16, and we made the peelers run. Our volunteers assembled at the rising of the sun. Our hopes were high, but our guns were few. We rang the country wide, and I marched for the Republic with my comrades by my side. When on the run the mountain glen and pass we knew right well, and where we were our enemies and spies could never tell, we found a kindly welcome in the uplands of East Clare, and we learned our leader's cruel fate as we were sheltered there. I journeyed to America beyond the stormy sea. I joined with exiles of the gale to set our homeland free. I raised the flag of Ireland high. It flew from shore to shore. Her place among the nations she must take forevermore. The call for liberty was heard, and other nations knew. A thirst for justice like our own, they challenged England too. From India and Africa and all the empire's way, we raised our voices in one shout to drive John Bull away. To this accursed treaty now I never will adhere. With threats of war and honeyed words, duplicity and fear, has England made the treaty and found Irishmen to sign a bargain with a den of thieves. It's theirs alone, not mine. Because I would not follow them, in Mountjoy jail I lie. And when the dawn breaks in the east, they leave me out to die. 3 comrades brave will follow me to face the firing squad. With O'Connor, McKelvey and Barrett, I will go to meet my God. A final word before we walk out to the prison wall. Hold fast to our republic, for it lives in spite of all. And Irish workers rally round you carry on the fight, and remember Lee Mellows, as you carry on the fight. Poblacht na Héireann, a ara agus a bhaná na Héireann, in anam day agus in anam na glúna chuig roin, agus an a bhór sí sean iris na náisiúteachta. Tá Trina ag garma clina faoin na bratach agus ag búla buile son a saoirse. Tar éis dí a fear agrú agus a ilúnt ina hagraíocht rún na reblódach. Ráprachas, poblacht na Héireann agus ina hagraíochtaí míle a paidlí, óglaigh na Héireann agus airn cathartha na Héireann. Agus tar éis dí a rialbhéis a thuirt, go fáinach, chun forfachta agus bheitheh go bún seasamh leis an bhall chun gníomh, tá sí ag ghlacha na bhaile sin inis, agus le cabhar ón clown deoraíocht America agus ó cógúlatha calma san Eorp. Ach thar gachní le muinín as an neart dílis féin, tá sí ag búla buile in nóchas omlán go mbeirigh sí bua. Dearbh mí gur ceart ceanasach dochló de ceart winter na Héireann, chun sealamh na Héireann agus chun dála na Héireann na Stóra, gan cusc, gan ceataí. Níor churach an ceart sin ar ceall leis an fórgáil a rinne poblacht achtarnach agus a rialtas le cín de aimseir, ná ní féidir go brach a chur ar ceall ach trí dhíthú winter na Héireann. Níl aon glún dá dánig ná dhearbhigh pobl na Héireann, a gheart chun saoirse agus ceannas an náisiún. 6 óra le 300 bliain anuas, dearbhíidir faoi arm é. Ag seasamh dún an gheart a bunaíodh sin a dhearbhú arís faoin armós cór an síl. Fógriamid leis seo, poblacht na Héireann ina stát ceanasach, neamhsplach agus chuirmid ar nanam féin agus nanam ar gomrádatha chórach i ngeall na saoirse agus lena las, agus lena mórach a meas na náisiún. De líon poblacht na Héireann agus líon sí leis seo, géal sinna ó winter ile na Héireann, idir ir agus maná. Ráhín an poblacht saoirse creidim agus saoirse híbalta, chócearta agus códheisna. Dá saoránig ile, agus dearbhíonn sí gur bé an rún séin agus sonas a lord dá náisiún ile agus de gach roindí, le chócóram de chláin ile an náisiún agus le neamhart. An as aontas a cothíocht aon tuisc adarthú ag rialtas achtarnach agus léir deilech mionlacht ón tromlacht san aim atá imi. Go dtí go deorthaí, fáim mar narm, an tonú dún bún rialtas náisiúnta, a bhunú ó cheachtaí de phobal ile na Héireann, ar na dógach le bhótaí a cuid fearr agus bad. Déananig an rialtas sealadach a bhunítar lei seo, cuasaí síbalta agus míleta na poblachta, a riarach tar ceann an phobal. Chuirmid cúis poblacht na Héireann faoi chomhimmarcha dhiamór ar nila chuacht, agus nimpiamid a bhanacht ar narm. Éireann gan aon duine a bhééis gan fónamh sa chúis sin de haingt as an ára arthaí, le mí léchas, le mí éanacht, ná le sláid. San ór arbhachach seo is é dúgus náisiún na Héireann a chruthú, le na misneach agus le na deaiompar, agus le tuile clina a d'orbert féin ar son na maithas a paidlí go dtillann sí an réim róúsal is dándí. Arna híniú ha ceann an rialtas sealadigh, Tomás Ó Cléirigh, Seán Mac Diarmada, Tomás Mac Donachada, Padraig Mac Píris, Éamon Ceant, Joseph Plunkett agus Séamus Ó Hungala.
What I have done in the past, I've thought right. I stood and now stand for the independence of Ireland. I felt so utterly dishonourable to accept the treaty, bringing Ireland into the Empire, that I could not continue with my former comrades. I am to meet death at their hands. I forgive them all. The will of God be done, and may the honour of Ireland be preserved. Yours always, Rory.
Dick Barrett. Well, it is just 7 a.m. and I am about to be executed at 8 a.m. Perhaps more of you may be called to go the same proud way. Well, boys, it is all very easy. Death is only one terrible at a distance. The nearer we get to it, the better. It's all over for me. I can easily escape now. You will all live up to the fate of our national borders, and when called upon to do a great thing for Ireland, you will face it manfully. Do not bear ill will or dream of reprisals. Our cause is too holy and ignoble for deeds. Goodbye to all. Remember me and pray for us four. I have a packet of cigarettes. I wish I could give one to some of the lads. Your fellow prisoner, Dick.
Joseph McKelvey, I feel very much the fact that this is my own countrymen who have sentenced me to death. But I pray to God that the deaths of those who are to be executed this morning may open their eyes to the dreadful crime of going against their own better nature, against everything they once held dear, and at the bidding of our enemy, England, waging such a cruel and relentless war against the Republic which they once would have died to uphold. Now, Mother, as the time has grown short, and as I want to see my comrades before we go, I must draw to a close. So goodbye dearest heart, and God bless and keep you, my mother. Give my heart's love to all my friends, and pray for me, dearest. Your loving son, Joe.
Dame Mellows. Let no thought of revenge or reprisal animate Republicans because of our deaths. We die for the truth. Vindication will come, the clouds will be cleared away, and brothers in blood will before long be brothers once more in arms against the oppressor of our country, imperialist England. In this belief I die happy, forgiving all as I hope myself to be forgiven. The path the people of Ireland must tread is straight and true, though narrow. It is a hard road, but it is the road our Saviour followed, the road of sacrifice. I had hoped that someday I might rest in some quiet place, beside grandfather and grandmother in Castletown, not amid the worldly pomp of Glasnevin. But if it's to be the prison clay, it is all the sweeter, for many of our best lie here. I have had a chaplain this evening. It is sad, but I cannot agree to accept the bishop's pastoral. My conscience is quite clear, thank God. With the old Gaels, I believe that those who die for Ireland have no need of prayer. Life is but for a short while. We will be reunited once more, darling mother. God bless, protect and comfort you. Your loving son, Liam.
At full of old, as the sun was setting o'er the bright meadows of Shelmalier, our rebel hand set ahead our blazon and brought the neighbours from far and near. Then Father Murphy of old Kilcarmock spurred up the rocks with a warning cry. Arm, arm, he cried, for I've come to lead you for Ireland's freedom. We'll fight or die. He led us on against the coming soldiers and the cowardly yeomen we put to flight. 'Twas at the Harrow the boys of Wexford showed Bucky's regiment how men could fight. Look out for hirelings, King George of England, search every kingdom where breeds a slave. For Father Murphy of County Wexford sweeps o'er the land like a mighty wave. We took Commemoration and then Escarty and Wexford storming drove culture. Our pipes were reeking with the crimson blood of the beaten yos. At top or nearing and Ballyellis, full many a Hessian playing his oar. For Father Murphy had it come over, the green flag floated from shore to shore. At Vinegar Hill, o'er the pleasant Slaney, our heroes vainly stood back to back. And the yos at Tullow took Father Murphy and burned his body upon a rack. God grant you glory, brave Father Murphy, and open heaven to all your men. For the cause that caused you may call tomorrow in another fight for the green again.
Táimid ag seasamh ag uig léacra na tíre. Léic a rinne a dhíthil de Éireann agus a fuórbós ar son le poblachta. Léic lornach den trid ar son Saoirse na hÉireann atá i gceist le Liam ó Mhaoirleasa. Ní amháin sin ach fearr a bhí tógtha leis an lucht oibre a chur chun cinn. Céad bliain ó tóga é ón saol, cuimh nímis agus gealamis a cuid oibre a críoch nu. Friends, the yard in Mountjoy Jail is sacred ground. A century on, its walls reverberate still with the echo of shots fired by Free State soldiers that ended the lives of 4 Irish patriots, 4 volunteers who bravely stood by the Republic. In the early hours of December 8, 1922, Joe McKelvey, Rory O'Connor, Dick Barrett and Liam Mellows were woken from their cells and told that they would be executed. There would be no trial, no pleas, no pretense of legality. The Free State government openly described its execution order as one of reprisal for the killing of Sean Hales TD the day before. They were, of course, not the first Republicans to be executed by the Free State, nor would they be the last. The first executions were carried out in November at Kilmainham Jail. 4 young Republican prisoners of war, Richard Toohig, Peter Cassidy, John Gaffney and James Fisher, were shot in the Stonebreakers' yard. Erskine Childers, an icon of the independence struggle, was executed later that month for possession of a revolver that had been gifted to him by Michael Collins. His execution marked the culmination of the demonisation of this principled, committed and talented Republican activist by both the British and the Free State governments. A week before Mellows and his comrades faced the firing squad, Joseph Spooner, Patrick Farrelly and John Murphy were executed in Beggars Bush Barracks. Over a period of 6 months, the Free State executed 81 Republicans. Thousands more were imprisoned. The ferocity of the executions intensified the bitterness of the Civil War. The dream of the Republic was sacrificed for a partitioned reactionary Ireland in which power has rarely been wielded in the interests of ordinary working people. Working people were kept down, often impoverished. Women were denied their place as equal citizens under the shadow of Magdalen laundries and mother and baby homes. The egalitarian spirit espoused by the women of Commemoration, women who sustained the revolution through its darkest days, was denied. Freedoms gave way to a system of strict social control. Forced emigration would become a sorrowful rite of passage for generations of young people. Connolly's vision of the Irish Republic as a bastion of human dignity and economic justice was cast aside. Liam Mellows saw the treaty and the establishment of the Free State as a concession to British imperialism, as a subversion of the Republic proclaimed in 1916, a republic ratified by the people at the 1918 general election, which saw Sinn Féin sweep to victory and saw Mellows elected as a TD for East Galway. Mellows' thinking had been deeply influenced by James Connolly, whom he had met on several occasions in the Dublin home of Constance Markievicz in the years prior to the Easter Rising. And it was Connolly's socialist vision that Mellows held so tightly up until his dying moments in Mountjoy. In his prison diary, Mellows laments the capitalistic course taken by the Free State, and he wrote, "So-called money and the Gombeen men are on the side of the treaty because the treaty means imperialism and England. We are back to tone, and it's just as well, relying on that great body, the men of no property." He longed not only for the national independence of Ireland, but also for the economic liberation of his people. It's long been said that O'Connor, McKelvey, Barrett and Mellows were chosen for execution to assert the Free State's authority across all 4 provinces. However, let there be no doubt that the bullet fired at the chest of Liam Mellows was fired at the heart of the Socialist Republic. Such was his influence. The boy born in a British military barracks had become a man who helped to rock the very foundation of British rule in Ireland. Though his family had hoped that he would transcend the class barrier that had prevented his grandfather and his father from becoming officers in the British military, Mellows chose a different path. The seeds of his republicanism were planted when, as a child, he went to live with his mother's family here in Wexford. This was the time of the centenary of the 1798 rebellion, and young Liam absorbed the stories of the croppies of Father Murphy and the heroic stand at Boulavogue. Later, as a young man working as a clerk in Dublin, he acquired the passion for revolution. He was an avid reader of the IRB newspaper Irish Freedom, and in 1911, Mellows came under the influence of the great Tom Clark. It was Clark who first recognised Liam's leadership qualities. Over the course of a decade, his contribution would be central not only to the fate of the Republican movement, but to the course of Irish history itself. Mellows was relentless. Believing strongly in the radical zeal of Ireland's youth, he worked night and day organising the Fianna, the IRB and core Irish volunteer units. Travelling by bicycle to avoid detection, he sometimes covered up to 60 miles a day. As a Republican organiser, his work rate was phenomenal, and he kept going in face of arrest, imprisonment and deportation. Given his inspirational dedication, it's therefore not surprising that Liam Mellows appears at nearly every major juncture of the revolutionary period. From Howth in 1914, where he helped collect the rifles off the Asgard, to East Galway, where he led the most significant mobilisation of volunteers outside of Dublin during the Easter Rising, and then on to the United States, where he used his talent as a brilliant, if reluctant, orator to pave the way for De Valera's hugely successful tour to raise political and financial support for the cause. Returning to an Ireland in the throes of revolution in 1920, Mellows worked under the cloak of secrecy as the IRA's Director of Supplies. The world had just witnessed the collapse of three empires, and Mellows saw an unprecedented opportunity for Ireland to rid itself of centuries of British imperialist oppression. It was an opportunity he later considered betrayed by the signing of the treaty and acceptance of Dominion status and of the Crown. Speaking during the treaty debates, Mellows said, "The British Empire is the thing that has crushed this country. Yet we are going into it now with our heads up. The British Empire represents to me nothing but the concentrated tyranny of the ages." When Republicans occupied the Four Courts in April 1922, they were reasserting the right of our republic to exist. When their former comrades turned the guns of the enemy on them, a civil war was sparked, engineered by the British to maintain its empire in Ireland. As the Free State rained British artillery down on the Four Courts, the Republican garrison faced the dying of the light. They faced the heartbreaking loss of the unity that had driven the cause of the independence struggle. They faced the betrayal of that republic for which so many of their friends had given their lives, endured jail, and for which the people had greatly suffered. There, at that time, Mellows was asked by a member of Commemoration when the spirit of the Republic would rise again. In sorrow, he conceded that it would take some time, but in hope, he said that one day a new generation would step forward to reclaim the great ideal. The darkness enveloped. Following the Civil War, Ireland became a conservative, reactionary place. Some who stuck to the Republic regrouped. Many were marginalised, criminalised, and forced into exile abroad. In Mountjoy jail, as the firing squad readied their rifles, in his final hours, Mellows wrote a last letter to his beloved mother. He asked that he be laid to rest in some quiet place here in Castletown. And so, my friends, here we are. And so we stand. We, the generation that Mellows foretold, stand at his quiet place. Here we stand for Irish freedom, for equality, for unity, for the Republic. Here we stand to write the next chapter in our long struggle for full nationhood. Here we stand, the change makers, the nation builders, determined to realise the dream of Liam Mellows. Republicans are now leading change right across Ireland. We now live in the dying days of partition, on the pathway to reunification in our time and the achievement of a 32-county Irish Republic. As the conversation on Irish unity gathers pace, the cynics say it's impossible. Well, they also told us that a Republican First Minister was impossible, but today, Michelle O'Neill stands elected to that office in a state that was designed to ensure that this could never, ever happen. You see, we know, as Mellows knew, that it is the people, not those in high places, who are renewing the promise of the Irish nation. And it's on the hopes, optimism, and energy of those who seek real change that nations of equality and unity are built. and such an historic opportunity exists for us today. The next step must be for the Irish government to establish a citizens' assembly on Irish unity. The vision of Liam Mellows has come full circle. Make no mistake, we are out to build a new Ireland for everyone. A nation home free of sectarianism and division. An Ireland of prosperity where nobody is left out or left behind. An Ireland where workers and families have the right to a roof over their heads, the right to healthcare and real opportunity with good jobs and decent wages. An Ireland where our young people can build a future home. There are those who stand against the tide of change. 100 years ago, Mellows saw it all. He said, "Men who get into positions and hold power will desire to remain undisturbed and will not want to be removed, or will not take a step that will mean removal in case of failure." Next Saturday, though they have failed our people, Micheál Martin will hand the keys of the Taoiseach's office back to Leo Varadkar and carry on as normal. They cling to power and position. But they, my friends, have not contended with the ambitions, the hopes, and the desire of our people for change. And just as Mellows and his comrades reached for freedom in 1922, this generation now reaches confidently for tomorrow and for the Republic. Today, in Liam Mellows' quiet resting place, we reignite that dream. In so many ways, the things for which the people of Ireland were fighting a century ago are the things that we work for today. A coming together of our people, a republic of equality, fairness, and justice. A nation of our own that would make the heart of Liam Mellows sing. I believe that this is within our grasp, and that with one final push, my friends, we will see the dawning of that day.